Should I pull the alarm? Turn to my nemesis, a full-on fucking guy.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to the Saturday Sports Page. I'm your host, Tom Schmitz, along with Ryan Goldberg. Goldberg's spending his last Saturday with us, folks.
No, I'll be back next week before I move into my new apartment.
Oh, you are coming back next week?
Yes.
You just can't stay away, can you? That's what you got. You got the sports show bug, and you just can't stay away. You're going to want to call in from Orlando on Saturday mornings.
It's either going to be that I'm going to be calling on the turnpike, or I'll be here. So I'd rather be here so I can look up stuff that I'm not 100% sure I'm saying.
Well, there you go. So you coming home every Saturday morning?
No, I'm not coming home every Saturday morning.
What is up with that?
I can't afford the gas. If someone wants to sponsor my gas trip down here, it'd be a lovely.
I don't think you're that good at radio, pal.
Yeah, no. I'm not Buddy Martin, that's not for sure.
Usually in the middle of football season, which we are in the middle of, I wouldn't start a sports show with this, but when you've been named the Sports Illustrated Athlete of the Year twice, you're the only person ever to be named that. We start with an old, a decrepit, I need to shut it down and start over next year, Tiger Woods. Shot another 74 yesterday at the PGA Championship to go 6 over, misses the cut. Only the fourth time in a major championship he's missed the cut. It's his second straight 74 in the PGA. Shot one on Thursday, shot one yesterday. Yeah, his back was hurting. But these are becoming normal for Tiger Woods, these kind of rounds. And you need to realize it's only his fourth tournament back since back surgery in March. I know that. He hadn't been a factor in any of the tournaments he's been played in since he got back. He's failed to make the cut. I think it was the Quicken Loans National Bank, something. He failed to make that cut. He had to withdraw last week on the World Golf Championships. He had his worst 72-hole showing ever in his career at the British Open. The worst 72 holes in a major he's ever played was at the British Open. He said he was ready to play Wednesday when he showed up at Valhalla.
Obviously not.
He was not. He said, this is Tiger Woods saying, I tried as hard as I could. That's about all I've got. Unfortunately, I just didn't play well. Consequently, a pair of 74s is not very good.
It's not like he just missed the cut. He was miles from the cut.
Yeah, the cut was one over.
Yeah.
He was 6 over. And he shot a 4 over 39 on the front 9, including a double bogey at number 6 where he 3-putted from 18 feet.
That's like a Ryan Goldberg game of golf.
39 is what I aspire to shoot. The greatest player, or arguably the greatest player to ever play the game, shouldn't aspire to shoot 39.
No, he should be shooting like 29.
Or 31 or 32.
Yeah. Maybe that's why his back's hurting him, because he's taking so many more strokes than what he's normally accustomed to.
He said he realized his chances had ended when he was on the driving range Friday morning, and he was unable to bend over just like at Firestone. He said, I was on the driving range, and I was really sore. There was no doubt I was sore. It went out of me on the range. I just had to play through it.
At that point, you have to be like, well, is it even worth playing the rest of the tournament? Because you know you're not going to finish, or you know you're not going to play well. Might as well just do the spiteful thing and withdraw like he did earlier.
Yeah, but Tiger Woods wants everybody to think golf is a sport just as football and baseball and basketball is. So I think he does a disservice to himself sometimes by gutting it out when he shouldn't, to show that he's tough. Because of the intricacies of a golf swing and getting that club face back to square at impact, the slightest little tinge or anything in a muscle can cause you to be a little slower with your swing and all. And we're talking about half a degree from square is about a 6 or 7 yard difference from where the ball lands. So if you're a degree and a half out, that's about 22 yards difference. That's the difference between hitting it in the middle of the fairway or hitting it in the rough. And we're talking about a degree and a half, 2 degrees. We're not talking about a large spectrum of, erroneous swinging with the club face not square. I mean, we always think in angles like 45 degrees and 90 degrees. We're talking about 1.5 degrees, 2 degrees is the difference between a ball landing in the fairway and landing in the trees. And the slightest pain in your back or something could cause these things. Now I need to ask this question. The baseball scandal with biogenesis. We all know that scandal. Biogenesis was a health clinic that operated briefly in Coral Gables, Florida. On January 22nd, the Miami News obtained documents from Biogenesis employee Porter Fisher, which said it linked 3 players, baseball players, to using performance-enhancing drugs. Anthony Bosch was the owner of this. Tiger Woods had a Canadian doctor. If you can try to find his name, I can't remember his name. Ryan, if you could find his name for me real quick. Tiger Woods had a Canadian doctor. He was under the care of a Canadian doctor for a while. That was also linked to biogenesis and performance-enhancing drugs. Can't recall the doctor's name. It's slipping my mind right now.
It was the same one as Alex Rodriguez, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up. Give it a second.
So when you think about that, is there can you draw a correlation between he quit seeing the care of this Canadian physician who was linked to performance-enhancing drugs and his body falling apart? Is there any proof of it? No. But it does seem to coincide pretty good. He quits the care of this Canadian doctor. I cannot remember the guy's name.
It's on the. They want you to watch the video to get his name, and I don't want to watch the video. Was it Anthony?
No, wasn't Anthony Bosch.
No, there's one right here. Anthony, Gailey.
Yeah, that's it. Dr. Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Yeah.
That was Tiger Woods' doctor up in Canada, who he was under the, watchful eye of. And this doctor was implicated in performance-enhancing drugs, along with, same as the biogenesis scandal. And you just have to ask the question. I think it's a fair question to ask, because you remember Tiger Woods was a ripped-up specimen like we've never seen on the golf course.
He also, when you started off, he was kind of scrawny.
Then he ended up with big guns and everything. And Tiger Woods was a workout freak. He thought that it would give him stamina and everything, and he would work out. It's not a reach, in my opinion, to say, was there some performance-enhancing drugs going on there? And now that he's not under the care of him, his body's tearing apart. Were these performance-enhancing drugs? Was his body tearing apart, but these performance-enhancing drugs were rebuilding it to the point where it was usable. Now he doesn't have these drugs, it's tearing apart. His knees tore apart. His back is tearing apart. When you swing with the velocity Tiger Woods swings a golf club with, when you torque the way he torques, you're going to do damage to your body.
And I don't recall anything, but I thought Alex Rodriguez and Tiger Woods were friends in some mutual friend type of deal also.
Yeah, they did a Schick commercial together. A-Rod, Tiger, and Roger Federer all were good buddies. They all were with Nike.
Yeah.
They all did Razor commercials together and everything. They would hang out. You'd see A-Rod and Tiger at tennis matches where Federer was playing tennis.
So now we have to watch for Federer, you think?
They were all good buddies. It's not impossible to think. Alex said, you know what I do to stay healthy all the time? I got this doctor. He's got this amazing stuff. Keeps me healthy. Because Tiger Woods went from scrawny golf kid to a pumped up, looked like Hans and Franz from Saturday Night Live. We will pump you up.
We are starting conspiracy right now.
I'm just saying.
I know.
I don't think it's that far of a reach to correlate performance-enhancing drugs and the non-use of them now by Tiger, if he used them at all, and his body breaking down. All I'm saying.
Yeah. It also, in the article that I'm looking at on Golf Digest, where I got the name from, it also said Tiger Woods went to him 14 times and he paid $76,000 to him, to the controversial doctor is what it says.
Right.
You know, $76,000 for 14 visits. What is that? That's like, that is $5,000 per visit, roughly. You know, what does $5,000 get you in the terms of performance-enhancing drugs and stuff like that?
That's a hell of a price for a doctor's office visit.
Yeah, especially in Canada, where I understand. Well, he's not a Canadian citizen, but wouldn't it be free insurance? Kind of, I think.
No, not for.
Not for an American citizen, but it would still. It's controversial, and it's not that far of a stretch because A-Rod was on top of his game. Tiger Woods was on top of his game before he got the whole sex addiction scandal thing, and now he's kind of dwindling down.
Well, if you remember this story from July of 2011, and it's funny how Tiger's problems started around 2009, 2010, knee injury and everything. 2011, July 7th, after a 2-year prolonged investigation, 2 years, that's 2009. That's when Tiger Woods started playing badly. That's when his wife took the golf club in her own hands. This was after the U.S. Open when he tore his knee up, had a broke leg, so he had to have surgery.
And it says September 2009 was when the doctor in Canada was
accused for treating 20 professional athletes at their homes, hotels, and friends' houses. The indictment did not identify any clients, but said they included golfers, professional baseball players, football players, and others. 2009 is when this guy stopped treating these athletes because he was indicted. 2009 is when Tiger Woods started falling apart. I don't think it's that big of a reach when the doctor pled guilty in federal court to bringing unapproved drugs, including growth hormones, into this country to treat professional athletes. What's the adage? Where there's smoke, what?
There's fire.
That's all I'm saying. While the indictment did not say who the athletes were, it did identify that they were golfers, professional baseball, and football players. How many golfers do you know at that time that were jacked up?
Tiger Woods was
one.
The only one.
Eldrick Woods. You connect the dots. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time to talk football, NFL style. We're going to get you set up, start breaking down the division, see how we think this season might shake out. We'll do that next, right here on the Saturday Sports page, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local on The Source.
Hi, it's Lisa Midget with Kinetic Motion Fitness. I'm looking forward to a fun, healthy summer, and I have a few ideas that might just help you and your friends stay in shape and have fun too. Along with awesome personal training and group classes at our warm and inviting fitness studio, we also offer fitness classes at your home or business. And if you're tired of the same old, boring cake and punch party, why not let us host a hot new health trend, a fitness party at your home or office? If you're having a hard time getting to the gym this summer, because of your crazy schedule, then work out with your friends or coworkers in a private group fitness class or host a fitness party at your home or office. We will bring you and your friends or coworkers one of our great workouts like Zumba, Pilates, Body Bar, Yoga, Tai Chi Boot Camp, or Zumba Tonics for kids. We can even help you reach your long-term goals by meeting at your place weekly for an on-location workout. Check out our website at kmfocala.com and like us on Facebook. Kinetic Motion Fitness is located just 5 minutes from downtown Ocala near the Skylark Plaza. Kinetic Motion Fitness. We're ready when you are.
Regions Bank has big bankability but possesses small bank agility. Utilizing tools like Raymond Andrews and his team of 6 mortgage experts with 100 years of experience in the mortgage industry and 50 years experience as members of the Regions Bank team. Mortgage lending is personal and important. and you deserve someone that will lead you through a positive process. Raymond and his team use local mortgaging processes like local appraisers and local closing to help you have a positive experience, and they habla Espanol as well. So whether you need a conventional, FHA, USDA, or VA loan, or you even need a construction loan, the mortgage team of your local Regions Bank has the knowledge and experience to guide you through the process. So contact Raymond Andrews and his team of mortgage experts at 352-854-4104. That's 352-854-4104. Regions Bank, it's time to expect more.
Sign up for this year's Marion County Heart Walk and be part of a local movement that's helping others live longer, healthier lives. Join me, Corey Poole, your 2014 Marion County Heart Walk Chairman, and walk with me on Saturday, October the 4th at the Baseline Road Trailhead. It's a free event promoting physical activity and heart-healthy living. To find out how you can help fight the #1 killer of all Americans, visit us online at marionheartwalk.org.
Hello? Can you hear me? Because if you can, then so can your customers. Radio works. Call today to advertise your business right here on WOCA 1370, The Source.
News, sports, weather, talk. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
Hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. Lips as sweet as candy.
We're back on the Saturday Sports page. I'm Tom Schmitz along with Ryan Goldberg. Goldberg, let me ask you something. Did you hear about the zoo that was created last night? It's complete pandemonium and chaos. Did you hear about it?
Yes.
It was ridiculously how pandemonium the chaos was. It was just, I mean, the police had to be called in, the National Guard. It was ridiculous. Did you hear about it?
Maybe.
No, really. The National Guard, the governor declared a state of emergency in this state. Did you hear anything about that?
Now you're confused with me.
You didn't hear anything about that?
I probably did if you tell me what it is.
Well, that was what was going to happen when Michael Sams took the field as the first openly gay player in the NFL, wasn't it?
I would assume so. I mean, they made such a big deal about it.
I don't think that happened.
No, it didn't. They were wrong.
Hello, smart people that thought it would be too much of a distraction. Nobody even remembered last night that Michael Sams was gay. He was just pretty good defensive end last night for the St. Louis Rams. Coach Jeff Fisher said where the first openly gay player drafted in the NFL will have his best shot at making the team. Michael's a defensive end. He played defensive end with his hand down. There's a lot of talk about Michael being a tweener, maybe a stand-up pass rusher. It's rare to find a defensive end playing special teams in the NFL. Sam said he thought it was awesome, recalling thinking during the national anthem, wow, this is a big stage.
That's preseason.
But not too big. He was credited with 1 tackle and 1 quarterback hit. Said, I can play in this league. Sam shed weight to 257 pounds coming into training camp, so it'd be a viable special teams option on the team that already had a strong pass rush. Mark Ingram had 8 carries for 83 yards and a 22-yard touchdown in the first half. Boy, what was supposed to be some sort of nuclear bomb type event, where the earth was supposed to shake and, the communities were supposed to crumble and society as we know it would come to an end. That was just a football game. Which is what I said all along.
You think if he
I don't care if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're green, if you're blue, if you are OCD, if you can help me as a football player win games, suit up.
You think if it would have happened somewhere else, it would have been a different story? Or you think everybody would have been excited?
If it had been in L.A. or New York, it would have been a bigger story just because there's more
culture,
just because there's more press there.
press.
But it still would have been in a New York style, it still would have been a whimper. Because in this day and age, nobody cares. ESPN staged it into a big deal. So what? Michael Sam's is gay. He can play football. Oh, but he kissed his boyfriend on TV. So? Get over yourselves. If you don't like that gay people show affection to each other in public like heterosexual people do, stay in your house and don't come out and bother us normal people. If you're moronic, discriminatory thoughts, say, "Ow, that's sick, it grosses me out." Yeah, well, you walking around grosses me out. Stay home. I'm glad it was a non-story, a non-issue, that it was just a guy playing football.
And that's what it comes down to.
Because that's what Michael Sam's is. He's a football player. He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. I didn't say the Big Sky. I didn't say the Mountain West. I didn't say the Sun Belt. I said the Southeastern Conference Defensive Player of the Year. I don't care who he's kissing. He needs to kiss the quarterback with a helmet when he's sacking him. Hello, that's what he needs to do. As long as he does that, good for him. I'm great with him in the league. And it seems like so are his teammates. Next story.
It's a good transition right there.
Last night, I don't know if you watched this game or not. Jacksonville, Florida, Tampa Bay Buccaneers played Jacksonville, Florida. Went to Jacksonville, Florida, played the Jacksonville Jags in the opening preseason game.
I missed my boy Blake Bortles playing. I turned it on right after he got out of the game.
First off, great swimming pool they built in Jacksonville. Okay,
I think it was you.
I thought it was going to be dumb, and you told me that it'll be a reason for me to go to the stadium. Great swimming pool.
And the scoreboard is the biggest scoreboard in the league.
The scoreboard's fantastic.
I don't know if you follow them on Instagram. I don't know if you have an Instagram.
I do have Instagram. I don't follow Jacksonville. It's my hometown, and I loathe my hometown football team. Because how dare you get an NFL team when I'm 32 and have moved away?
Well, they've been posting the updates, and they have like a time-lapse video of like the construction going on in the stadium. And I gotta say, they upgraded the stadium really nicely.
They really did. It's a nice venue now. Blake Bortles made his debut last night with the second team. Threw for 117 yards, completed 7 of 11 passes, and completed one pass over 30 yards down the middle of the field to Mike Brown to set up the 26-yard field goal that gave the Jags the lead late in the third quarter. You know, he's not being pressured to start. Chad Henne's going to start, okay?
But I think it'd be stupid if he didn't start.
Denard Robinson, remember that name?
Yes, because I'm looking at it on the screen.
Went to Michigan. 23-yard TD run put the Jaguars ahead for good with less than 7 minutes remaining. Tampa Bay's first team offense sputtered. Josh McCown sacked twice and lost a fumble.
So is he going to be the starting quarterback?
That's what they said.
Glennon was the guy who started last year for him after they cut Josh Freeman, right? Right. So why doesn't he played well last night. I watched his one drive where they scored the touchdown, and he seemed to be clicking with the offense there.
That's the second team offense, though. One he's practiced with the most. Chad Henne started for Jacksonville. Then the rookie Bortles received a nice ovation from the announced crowd of 59,100.
So you get when you tap into UCF.
At Everbank Field. First pass he completed, 24 yards. So it wasn't a dunk pass. He completed a pass for 24 yards to Allen Hurns. 2 plays later, he rolled out of the pocket to his left, showed he had a sense of when he needs to take a little off his throws with a nice flip to fullback, Will Tafuofu, I guess that's how you say it, for a 12-yard gain. Coach Gus Bradley said he thought Bortles did a nice job, showed some good poise. We felt like we could protect him good. So when might Bortles begin to get practice time with the starters? Bradley said the philosophy is to try to get these rookies in with the ones. Somewhere you're going to see it. We want them to feel the speed of the ones, but there's no timetable to when that's going to happen.
So you have 3 more preseason games left. You start Bortles the next game, so we get some time with the ones. Chad Henne still gets his practice in when playing with the 2s. And then you just start Chad Henne the rest of the last 2 preseason games.
Chad Henne Blake Bortles will start the next game.
Yeah.
Chad Henne will start the 3rd game and play the first half and a little bit of the 3rd quarter. And then Blake Bortles will start the 4th game. Chad Henne will not start the 4th game. The game, if you want to watch the starters play most of the game, that preseason game is the 3rd game of the preseason. Because that way you give your team the starters a week to, any bumps and bruises they may have heal up before the start of the season. So the 3rd game of the season is the one you want to watch. Let's look at the season. Let's start in the NFC East. Washington, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. I feel like this is the Eagles' division to lose. The Cowboys are terrible. The Redskins have questions with Robert Griffin III coming back from injury. Got a new coaching staff. A lot of questions in Washington. And the New York Giants have Manning. And you don't know whether Eli is going to throw 28 interceptions like he did last year or 28 touchdowns like he did the year before. And it all comes down to whether Tom Coughlin's offensive line can protect Eli Manning. If the Giants can protect Eli Manning, it'll be a 2-horse race, the Giants and the Eagles. But right now, the Eagles are head and shoulders above everybody else in that division, in my opinion.
Didn't look too well in the first preseason game. The Hall of Fame game is what they call it, but you never know. You really
mean the
don't.
Giants? Yeah, terrible. Terrible. Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay. As usual.
Green Bay.
And then everybody else.
Literally, that's how it is every year.
Literally. Green Bay and everybody else.
Unless Chicago can pull something together offensive-wise and a little bit of defensive-wise, it is Green Bay's.
Green Bay, don't sleep on the Lions. I know the Lions were 4-12 last year. Don't sleep on the Lions.
You never know what's going to go through their quarterback's head and who he's going to throw to.
He does have the best receiver in football.
He does, but he's not the best quarterback in football.
He is not. The NFC West, Arizona, Seattle, San Francisco, and St. Louis, the best division in all of football.
Yeah.
Remember, Arizona won 11 games last year and missed the playoffs.
Yes, they did.
Missed the playoffs.
And their defense is credible to that.
Both Seattle and San Francisco played in the NFC Championship game. 3rd team in that division, the Arizona Cardinals, missed the playoffs. 3rd best team in the NFC missed the playoffs. That's going to be a battle again. But I got to go with the champs. Until you can show me you can beat the champs, I think Seattle's the team in the West. And I think flip a coin with Arizona and San Francisco.
I think San Francisco would beat Arizona for the fact that they have a little bit more offense than the
Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
But the defense of the Cardinals is just
it's
outrageously good.
It's hit or miss because I looked at them last year for fantasy football and they were not consistent in some ways. They have a good corner in Patrick Peterson, but all around I think they're a little bit less than the 49ers.
And then finally, my favorite division in the NFC, the NFC South. The only division, in my opinion, well, the AFC Central may be this way too, but the NFC South is like a college division. You got Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Carolina. The people that are Atlanta Falcons fans are also Georgia Bulldog fans and Georgia Tech fans, Georgia Southern fans. People that are New Orleans Saints fans are LSU fans. People that are Tampa Bay fans are Gator fans and Florida State fans. And people that are Carolina fans are South Carolina, Clemson, and North Carolina fans. And I don't know whether they realize it, that it's a totally different game, or if they're still just drunk from tailgating at the college game and just it pours over into the pro game. But the attitude and the angst amongst fans of these four teams are just like the angst amongst the college teams that they cheer for. Which sets up for a great division. This year, Tampa's going to be terrible.
Yes.
Carolina, depending on how Cam Newton plays.
And their defense.
The Falcons are too good on offense to go 4-12 again.
You never know.
They're amazing on defense. Here's the Falcons' problem.
They'll get cursed by Hard Knocks.
Here's the Falcons' problem.
Injuries.
The Falcons couldn't stop water on a dry lake bed.
And you're a Falcons fan, which is...
I'm a huge Falcons fan. Their defense couldn't stop water on a dry lake bed. So I'm going to have to say this looks like it's New Orleans' division to lose again.
Unless Carolina does something magical after they go 0-4 like they did last year. I think it was.
But, 0-4. The Falcons 2 years ago were 13-3, had the best record in the NFL.
And then they played
Then they got a harder schedule, and they went 4-12. Well, now they got an easy schedule again. So it's not out of the realm the Falcons could show up again because their offense is top-notch. They got weapons everywhere on offense.
If they stay healthy.
But they can't block. The offensive line's a question mark for the Falcons.
And if they stay healthy.
So I still think New Orleans wins the NFC South. I got New Orleans playing the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC playoffs with the Seahawks going back to the Super Bowl. Next week, I'll break down the AFC for you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Mr. College Football, he joined the show over the last week. Tony Barnhart from CBS Sports and the SEC and Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Sorry. He'll join us next, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local on The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on.
Hi, this is Lisa Midget, owner of the Properties Salon in downtown Ocala. Here in Florida, we're all about summertime fun, but along with the warm weather comes humidity, which leads to the dreaded frizzies. Are you tired of checking the weather report every morning before deciding to flat iron your hair? Sick of looking like the Lion King every day by noon? Has God just not seen fit to answer your prayers for patience and silky, frizz-free hair? Well, your troubles are over. Come to the Properties Salon for one of our hair smoothing systems. Specializing in Peter Coppola and Cezanne keratin smoothing treatments, the Properties Salon can tame your unruly locks with these formaldehyde-free formulas. And with the discount code BuddyRocks, you will save 20%. Not fighting the frizzies? Mention the same code BuddyRocks to save 20% off one of our many services such as cuts, color, extensions, and manis and petties. Gentlemen, this special is not just for the ladies. We do great cuts and color for men too. Check us out at theproperties.com for more information.
It's rodeo time in Florida. The 32nd annual Ocala Shrine Rodeo returns with the best of man, muscle, and a stampede of horsepower. August 29th and 30th, witness America's #1 sport and the greatest show on dirt. Showtime, 7:30 each night at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion. For rodeo information, call 352-402-8808. August 29th and 30th, don't miss the Ocala Shrine Rodeo.
Hey
Hey everybody, this is Kelly Hart, your new host of the Ocala Magazine radio show. Join me every Friday at 10 a.m. when we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life with in-depth interviews from and about your community. So don't miss Marion County's favorite city magazine, Ocala Magazine, every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
We are The Source, WOCA.
WOCA.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me. No matter.
We're back on the Saturday Sports Page. I'm your host, Tom Schmitz, along with Ryan Goldberg. Earlier this week, Tony Barnhart stopped by the show to talk with Buddy Martin. Tony is Mr. College Football, and, of course, all the talk was college football. Here's Tony Barnhart with Buddy Martin.
Back on Buddy Martin's Sports Page on a Wednesday. One of my favorite segments always is to have this guest on, a guy that has done a bit of radio and television and still does. You can catch him on the new SEC network. I know he subbed in for Paul Feinbaum last week. Did an admirable job. He is Mr. College Football. Officially that now again because he's back at writing for his alma mater. You heard him on the show before. It's Tony Barnhart. Hi, Tony.
Hi, buddy.
Nice to talk to you again, my friend.
Well, it's good to talk to you. I just got back from Auburn, spent the day over there talking to folks, and as you might imagine, they're excited, and it's not going to be that long before it's time to crank it up again.
Gus Malzahn is a really interesting person, and it's a guy that's kind of caught the attention of some coaches like Steve Spurrier. Spurrier is kind of a big fan of him. I guess it's because they're both mad scientists in the offense, right?
Well, they both brought something new to the table. When Steve Spurrier came to Florida in 1990, he reinvented what the passing game looked like in the SEC, and the league has never been the same since. Same thing with Gus. I mean, when it begins with Gus at Auburn in 2010 when they win the national championship. He comes back and he comes within 13 seconds of winning another national championship. And so, they're innovators, and that's why Coach Spurrier, I believe, has such admiration for Gus Malzahn.
Tony, I think it might be as good a college football turnaround as I have ever seen what Auburn did. You agree with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, look at 3-9. 0-8, did not win a single game in the SEC, and they bring Gus Malzahn back. He's got it, as he told me many times. He said, I had to do a lot of doctor filling. Okay, I had to hug a lot of necks because those kids had been through a lot, and for them to get that close and almost win the national championship is truly remarkable.
It was an excellent coaching job too, and without question, I'm kind of surprised. He labored in high school in the vineyards so long, and why they let him get away in the first place. Tony, do you have any idea?
I don't, but what's interesting, he had so much success in high school, and then he had the opportunity to go to Arkansas as an assistant coach. He ran into a different philosophy. He and Houston Nutt had a different philosophy of how they wanted to do things. Houston was more old school. He was more new, spread them out kind of thing, and he goes on to Tulsa, sets records, and then comes to Auburn, and we know what he did there in 1 year as a head coach. So it's been well, put it this way, I told someone the other day, 9 years ago, buddy, he was the head coach at Springdale High School, just outside of Fayetteville, barely making six figures. Now he makes almost $4 million a year. I mean, is this a great country or what?
It is a great country for sure. Speaking of coaches around the SEC, we've got some really good ones, obviously. We always love to hear Spurrier talk at SEC Media Days, but there are other guys there. What was your take on some of the other guys? Let's talk about Miles, first of all, and Saban. Your take on what they're both, I think, reasonably cautiously optimistic, but what'd you pick up from Miles?
Well, just from listening to him, every time you hear Les Miles speak in a public setting, you understand why his players love him the way they do. He is unvarnished. There's nothing calculated. He is what he is. And they have lost something like, 18 guys, juniors, to the NFL draft, and a ton of juniors the last couple of years. But still, you look at their team, if they can get just pretty decent play at quarterback, I think they'll be in the middle of it in the SEC West. Nick Saban, of course, is much more calculating, is very measured in what he says. He has a plan for every time he talks. He has a plan, but he is as good a detailed person as you're going to see. His situation, I believe, they have two issues at Alabama. They think they're going to be okay at quarterback, but it's got to happen. And they're going to be extremely young at the cornerback position, which is a key part of Nick Saban's defense. But if those two issues work out all right, you look at the schedule, there's no reason Alabama can't win every single game on their schedule.
You know, Tony, I love listening to the little tiny subtle remarks that coaches make sometimes and the nuances of things. Maybe I'm overestimating it, but I just remember one phrase that stuck with me when Miles said, "I like our team and I like him in all the games."
That's right. And when I heard that, I tweeted it out. I said, "This is Les." He's telling his guys, "Hey, you're my guys. I like you, and we're going to line up and try to win every game that we play." And so, yeah, look, they get Alabama at home. I just think they have enough talent. If the quarterback play comes through, they got a chance.
The other thing that got me, too, was the interesting conversation what Spurrier talked about, naturally, Nick Saban being the greatest recruiter in the history of the game. I love that. And then Saban coming on the Feinbaum show. And later on ESPN, they both came on together.
Yeah.
And Saban wound up defending Spurrier on that.
Well, the great thing about Coach Spurrier, buddy, this is nothing new for him. He used to talk about Florida State and the Bobby Bowden when they really had it going. He said, always wanted, they already got 3 high school All-Americans at every position. How can they recruit another one? Convince him he can come in and beat these other guys out. How do they do that, Tony? And so he always wondered. And he always said, I had number one recruiting class, and nobody wanted to come the next year because we had too many players. How do they do that?
Well, there's some stories told at media day I can't repeat, but apparently Spurrier hitches a ride on the Florida plane to media days every year. They go by, and Muschamp and Spurrier becoming friends. And Spurrier having the needle that he has, and he uses on everybody.
Yes.
Had a couple of good ones for Will, but Will took them good-naturedly, and they've kind of become friends, I guess.
Well, don't you know that flight to and they fly together up to the car wash.
Car wash, that's what it was. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Up at ESPN.
Right.
Don't you know when they swing, they take off from Gainesville and they land in Columbia and pick up the ball coach? That from that point on, it's an entirely different trip.
It's on right then.
Well, the great thing about Coach Spurrier is he doesn't play favorite. He gives it to everybody.
Everybody.
He doesn't hold anything back. He doesn't take any prisoners. He does it to everybody, and that's why I think people like him so much.
He slipped one in to me this summer as I was talking to him. He said, "Look up Texas A&M's record last year in the conference." And he says, and also look at their schedule, how weak it was, and of course they were 4-4 in the conference, So he gets these little digs in and very subtly, but he knows all those numbers. Believe me, entertaining. The question is, will he be any good? Were you surprised how highly he was rated coming out of SEC media days?
Well, I think you sit there and you look at the SEC East. I think it's. Obviously, it's Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. And Florida, of course, we know about Florida's issues. We know about their schedule and all that. And I think a lot of people think the Georgia, South Carolina winner may end up winning the division. Coach Spurrier, I went to see him in the spring, and I've talked to him a couple of times. They're going to be really good on offense, buddy. I mean, really good. The 4 or 5 on the offensive line are back. Mike Davis is a great running back. They're very deep at that position. They're very deep at the wide receiver. He has a lot of confidence in Dylan Thompson at quarterback. They just got to solve some issues on the defensive front. They lose 3 of their top 4 guys on the defensive front. But again, there's a situation where they got to play Auburn. Obviously, they got to play Georgia and Florida on the other side, Missouri. But I think Coach Spurrier, if they can beat Georgia. Obviously, they got to beat Texas A&M in the opener, but if they can beat Georgia on September 13th, I think the season sets up very nicely for them.
Yeah. Tony Barnhart from SEC Network and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. You got your blog going again, huh?
Yeah, it was a situation in our deal with the ESPN for the SEC Network. There was a writing component, but not a. I'm doing 1 column a week for the SEC Network. first one starts Friday.
How do people get that?
Go to it's the SEC network, but it's on the SECsports.com. Okay. But every Friday from now and through the end of the season, I'm going to do a column for the SEC network on SECsports.com. But that was the writing component of the deal. It's heavy radio, heavy television, and I wanted to write a little bit more. And so we started talking about who we could find as partners to write for. And my wife said, "Why don't you call the AJC and see if they want to bring Mr. College Football home?" And I said, "Well, they don't want me. I've been gone 5 years and all that kind of stuff." But we reached out to them and they said, "Yep, we absolutely want to talk about that." We had 2 meetings and the deal was done. So.
Doesn't surprise me at all. It's a perfect hire for them and a good one for you. Let's go back to Gainesville for a second and talk about Will Muschamp. I must say, and I've said it publicly and I've written it here, that I'm feeling a little bit different after hearing Muschamp's media day, both up in Hoover and in Gainesville. And there seems to be an air, Tony, around the team, which we went up on Sunday, talked to the players. They're not freaked out. They're not uptight. They all kind of know what they got to do, and they've buried this 4-8. I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC East, but it's a different atmosphere. From where you sit, I know you heard him up in Hoover. What is your feeling about what's going on in Gainesville right now?
Well, when I went there in the spring and had a chance to have pretty extended conversations with Coach Muschamp, Coach Roper, and Jeff Driscoll and Vernon Hargraves, and hey, listen, I thought Vernon Hargraves, he was the guy who really sold me on the offense. He says, "I've been watching it." He said, "Let me tell you, we've got something here. It's totally different, and it gets guys out in open space." And from then on, when I talked to Coach Muschamp, he feels really good about it. I've talked to a lot of people about Kurt Roper. I had David Cutcliffe when I was hosting for Paul Feinbaum last week. Had David on there, and he just raves about him. And what Kurt does is he gets the ball to guys in space, and I think he'll take great advantage of what Jeff Driscoll can do. And everybody just felt really upbeat that this thing is going to work. Now, the schedule is ridiculous. We all know that. But I think they're in such a better place mentally. I mean, let's face it, from Driscoll's injury on, it was about 10 miles of bad road last year. And so I think they feel good about things, and we'll see. They'll play those 3 games, and they'll get ready to play Alabama, and we'll see what happens.
Tony Barnhart from AJCS. This is a special guest. Couple more for you, Tony. By the way, I agree with you on Hargraves. Also, Hargraves really impresses me as an intelligent player. But Tom Schmitz of our staff has a question for you.
Tony, I'm looking at, I heard you talk about Florida, I've heard you talk about South Carolina, and I've heard you talk about Georgia as they're the 3. But I'm seeing a team that returns 8 starters on offense. Matty Mock showed he can play quarterback in the SEC. They go to South Carolina, but Missouri gets Georgia at home. Then they're at Florida and at Texas A&M, but 2 teams that aren't that impressive last year. With the loss of Johnny Manziel this year, Texas A&M may not be the team. Florida not that impressive last year. Why is Missouri not getting some love for returning 8 offensive starters?
Well, I think the issue there, I think everybody has a lot of confidence in Matty Mock. He has a little swagger about him. The issue at Missouri, number one, is at wide receiver. They lost their 2 best wide receivers. They kicked Doral Green Beckham off the team. They suspended the next guy down the line, Levi Copeland, last week for taking a banned substance, nutritional. So they've got an issue. They've got an issue at wide receiver. At running back, they lose a great player in Henry Josie. Defensively, they lose 2 guys, 2 NFL draft choices at the defensive ends. I just get the feeling that you look at it, I think they'll have a good team, but I don't see them as winning the East again.
Final question, just a short one, Tony. I know the selection committee is kind of a controversial thing. I heard, I believe it was Jeff Long on TV yesterday. What's your thoughts about this 13-person committee, and do you think it'll work?
Yeah, I mean, I was a big advocate of the committee because I think I trust people sit around and discuss these teams rather than lean on the coaches' polls and the Harris polls and make them the arbiter of who gets in and who gets out. So ultimately, you have to trust the people who are on this committee, and I do. Will it be controversial? Sure it will. I mean, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all going to be upset. But at the end of the day, I like a committee talking about all these factors, strength of schedule, everything, and then coming to a reasoned decision.
Tony Barnhart, always a pleasure to talk to you. See you along the Sawdust Trail someplace, Tony, and have a great season.
Thanks, buddy. See you down the road.
All right.
That was Tony Barnhart with Buddy Martin earlier this week. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the NCAA not going to like what I have to tell them. Plus, are you kidding me? Coming up next, right here as we close out the Saturday Sports Page, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're streaming live and local on The Source.
Hey, Eddie, I'm playing Augusta in a few hours, and I need a fourth. Want to join us?
Georgia's close, but it's not that close, Alex.
Not Georgia, Golden Ocala. I'm a member at Golden Ocala, and this course has 8 tribute holes, like number 12 and 13. You know, part of Amen Corner, and the postage stamp, and the road hole. It's a phenomenal track. My family and I always have a great time at the pool and at the restaurants. They've got 3, you know. The kids love the tennis programs. My wife practically lives at the spa, and I've been bulking up with a personal trainer in their fitness center. Joining Golden Ocala was one of the best decisions I've ever made, aside from marrying my wife, of course. So you want to join us in a few hours?
Absolutely. I can't wait to play the first hole in golf and the road hole too. Hey, how do I become a member at Golden Ocala?
Eddie, just call 352-402-4343.
Luxury and great golf is affordable at Golden Ocala. Call 352-402-4343 to join.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day, whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands. At Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 a.m. and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala Restore at 926 Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give us a call at 401-0075 and we'll come pick it up. For more information, visit ocalarestore.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. Building homes, building hope, building community.
Wow. Did you really just play The Runaways?
Yes, I did.
Wow. How do you know about The Runaways?
I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I had to download the album after I went to the movie, and I downloaded, that was one of the songs on the album.
Wow, Cherry Bomb. That's a great song.
Yes.
Joan Jett and Lita Ford.
I listened to it all day yesterday.
Yeah. Hey, college football and basketball players, according to a story from the AP, could be in line for a payday worth thousands of dollars once they leave school after a landmark ruling Friday that may change the way the NCAA does business. A federal judge ruled the NCAA cannot stop players from selling the rights to their name, images, and likenesses, striking down NCAA regulations that prohibit them from getting anything other than scholarships and the cost of attendance at schools. U.S. District Judge Claudia Wilkin in Oakland, California, ruled in favor of former UCLA basketball star Ed O'Bannon and 19 others in a lawsuit that challenged the NCAA's regulation of college athletics on antitrust grounds. The injunction she issued allows players at big school to have money generated by television contracts put into a trust fund to pay them when they leave. It's a partial victory for the NCAA, though. Wilkins said the body that governs college athletics could set the cap at the money paid to athletes as long as it allows at least $5,000 per athlete per year of competition. Individual schools could offer less money, she said, but only if they don't unlawfully compromise among themselves to set these, conspire among themselves to set these. This means FBS football players and Division I basketball players who are on the roster for 4 years could potentially get around $20,000 when they leave school. So just another turn towards making sure players get paid for the money they're generating in institutions. I knew this was going to happen. I thought it had to happen, Ryan. I thought it was the only alternative because billions of dollars are being made on the backs of these kids.
And $20,000 is nothing.
Not spit in the bucket. Are you kidding me? Andrew Wiggins traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you were dumb enough to go out and buy an NBA jersey, first off, shame on you. And now the NBA store will give you your money back for your Cavs jersey that was an Andrew Wiggins jersey, whether it was worn or not. Are you kidding me? I don't want some sweaty armpit jersey if I'm the NBA store. And if you were dumb enough to buy an NBA jersey, so what? Keep the thing. I'm not giving you your money back. Are you kidding me, NBA? Don't try to suck up and make people like you by giving money back to idiots that bought another man's jersey in the first place. Who buys another grown man's jersey? You kidding me? For Ryan Goldberg, I'm Tom Schmidt saying, have a great weekend, everybody.